I'm very saddened by it. You know, it's very, very difficult for me. I'm just happy I got a chance to see him. I was overseas, and I got back on Friday, and I went right out to the hospital to see him. So, I left here about 3:15, and he only lived 3 more hours. So I count myself lucky just to have been able to make contact and
Kareem,
see
do you
him.
remember Lou Alcindor, of course, at the Power Memorial and UCLA, and the coach was recruiting you. Do you remember the first transmission of his tranquility to you?
Well, just when I came out to visit Coach Wooden, I expected him to have a whole big deal going on around him, and he was absolutely a very humble person. His office was a Quonset hut. It's like, whoa, here's the guy that's just won 2 consecutive NCAA tournaments, and he's coaching out of a Quonset hut, and a very, very humble man. And I really enjoyed his down-to-earth, genuine concern, and he was so real. It was something that she immediately responded to.
Kareem, can your selflessness be traced to John's lessons of life?
Well, I'm sure he contributed a lot to that. I had a lot of great mentors in my life, but he looms large in that group.
Hey, when you saw him Friday?
Just seeing him his final hours, did he recognize you at all?
No, he was sedated at that point.
Oh, was he?
Yeah,
Okay.
so I don't even know if he was aware if I was in the room or not.
Yeah, I was watching a lot of the ESPN classic programming last night, and they said that the one phrase that still always made you jump was what? Goodness gracious.
Goodness
Lewis?
gracious sakes alive.
Yeah. Talk about that.
Well, because he was so even keeled and everything, when he'd say that and he'd be excited, your eyebrows would grow up, and you'd look around and reconsider what you had just done.
He started coaching through the 60s and 70s with a little bit anti-authoritarian, anti-authority consciousness, and he had to deal with some people who had some pretty strong political opinions. Talk a little bit about how he adjusted to that. Maybe did he learn anything from coaching guys like you and
Well, I'm sure he was aware that it was a period of turmoil. The Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act were passed while I was at UCLA, and the Civil Rights Movement was coming to a climax there to get the legal basis to fight Jim Crow racism. So in my life, that was a big issue, but Coach Wooden understood that, and Coach Wooden had contributed to that. I don't know if you're aware, when he was at Indiana State and the tournament, and the player involved was not a frontline player, but Coach Wooden, that was part of his integrity. He defended all his players and felt that they all deserved the opportunity, and he didn't care about people's ideas about race. He was going to do things the way he felt they should be done.
He kept calling you Lewis years after you changed your name, didn't he? Was it just hard for him to kind of adapt?
Every so often, it wasn't that something a conscious thing that he did, but sometimes he would forget.
Talk about the gentleness and the kindness of the man the coach was.
It's hard to get it all out there in context. He was a very complex man, but the gentleness and kindness was absolutely part of him, but he also was a fierce competitor, and we sometimes we'd run into that if we did the wrong thing, because he could be like a very concerned parent and put down the discipline. But it was all done with love, and that I think we understood that, and that's why he had such a profound effect on us.
You both are very well-read individuals. That must have been a lot of fun having some philosophical discussions through the years together.
Philosophical, and I was an English major. He was an English teacher, so I could ask him about the correct use of semicolon and stuff like that. Things that most people wouldn't necessarily think we'd be talking about.
Kareem, China had Confucius. For us, walking North America, was John Wooden or Confucius the greatest of all teachers?
He was a great teacher, and he was a molder of character. Basketball was just a means for him to affect us and make us deal with our character issues, because what we learned on the court really were things that translated from life.
Kareem, was there one or two things that he most impacted your life? In what facets?
I would say any success that I enjoyed as a parent really came about from remembering how Coach Wooden would challenge us and let us fail, and then come back at us and say, all right, now that you've tried it your way, this is the right way to do things. You know, it made me wiser as a parent to have had that experience.
Do you have a favorite saying or motto of his? He had many of them. Is there one that you...
Geez, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. That's one, yeah.
That's like everybody touched it all, okay?
Is a career like Coach Wooden had, is it possible today, given the way the college game has evolved, money, pressure, is it possible to have another...
Geez, I don't think that what Coach Wooden achieved can be done again, because the landscape has changed, you know, and basketball now is worldwide entertainment. It's a totally different set of circumstances.
We love you, Cap!
Well, I think that has to do with the fact that the basic values that he was all about are the basic values of family and education and integrity. And that's those aren't going to die anytime soon. They've been with us throughout our history as human beings, and they'll continue to stay with us.
What would you miss most about your interactions with him?
Well, you know, he was a wise person that was willing to share his wisdom, and his wealth of experience was always something that you could rely on at times. It happened in my life more than one time.
When you got to see him on Friday, were you able to say anything to him, or did you need to...
No, he was sedated at that point.
But I mean, were you able to say anything? Not even if he heard you, but were you able to say goodbye?
Well, I just sat there and took the moment in, because I felt very fortunate to get there when I did.
Is it hard for you to hear at a basketball game, you know, today, knowing what happened?
Yeah, it's hard, but on the other hand, it's what he would have wanted us to do, because he always told us, don't get too caught up in the lows or the highs. Try to live your life in balance. So, you know, that's part of it.
Did you maybe think about him today when you put on your socks or anything like that?
Well, I've been thinking about him consistently ever since Friday.
He says, you know, he did live to be 99. We're very fortunate, so we should celebrate his life. We talked about John also in his last years, you know, talking about joining Nell and all that. Can you just talk about that aspect of being fortunate he lived so long and, you know, celebrating his life is the key?
Yeah, just he had such a positive impact on so many people. It's, you know, that's what it should be about. You know, he lived to be a great age, and we were able to enjoy him for so long. But just being aware of him passing, we all feel a loss, and you know that's just part of what we have to deal with.
What do you remember most about the recruiting process? What he said to you to help you get to UCLA?
He didn't really get involved very much in the recruiting process. I had decided I wanted to go to UCLA before I ever got a chance to meet Coach Wooden. You know, so.
When you did meet him, though, what was the first thing you recall?
Just the fact that he was a very down-to-earth person, and someone that engendered a lot of respect just from what he had accomplished.
Right.